Link.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, bro.
दिखाता है टाइमिंग का
नेटवर्क नहीं है। हाँ ब्रो दिखाने हैं।
देख न्यू लिंक दागी देख
चैनल में दिख रहा नहीं है।
चैनल पे दिखता
नहीं बाबा।
आया है नहीं चैनल में नोटिफिकेशन
ओके ठीक। स्टार्ट होगा भाई।
आया नहीं चैनल में नोटिफिकेशन Hi everyone, thanks for joining the live session of Network Ninja. So if you have any questions related to the networking, do raise your questions. So we will have a in detail discussion. Uh, what we are going to do, is the networking is helpful for you guys, or like if any fresher engineers are there, or any experience, or if you have any doubts related to the technology, do let us know so that we will have a in detail discussion. So that we will have a in detail discussion. Guys, I'll be in mute for few minutes. Okay. So once all the participants join, so once we have a good number of participants, then we'll start. So we have total number of head count on the live. So just waiting for a few more guys to be joined. So once we have the good count, like around 20, we'll start. In between, if anyone have the doubts, or you want to clarify any networking technology or things like protocols, routing protocols, switching protocols, and the questions related to the interview, just do ping in the chat group so that we'll respond you. Guys, anyone have the doubts or questions, just let me know so that so right as of now we have 15 members okay, so still we'll wait for the five more guys to be joined. So sure, the name all rounder, like okay, bro, I studied degree second year. I want to do the networking. What is the process? Tell me. Okay. So see, the all-rounder. The process is simple. So once you have the like any degree, like degree from the computer background or the engineering degree, if you have the degree, you are eligible for the networking jobs. Okay, but you should have a basic understanding, like the basic knowledge of CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate. If you have the CCNA knowledge, okay, so you are applicable, you're capable for like the networking job as a L1 network engineer. Let me take my notepad and I'll explain you what exactly you require to jump into the networking. Let me share my screen. Okay, here we go. See, you guys are able to see my screen, right? Right. See, in networking, we have three different tags. One is CCNA, the second one is CCNP, and the third one is CCIE. See, the first track is for L1 and L2, and the CCI is for L3. So, if you have the knowledge of CCNA, at least after your degree, okay, what is the name? Like the guy has been right. So, all rounder, right? So, if you have the knowledge of CCNA, okay, if you have the knowledge knowledge of CCNA, then you are eligible for L1 job. As a fresher, if you should only know the CCNA knowledge. If you have the CCNA, then you are well and good. You are capable, like you are applicable for the L1 jobs. See, along with CCNA, what I'll suggest, right? Along with the CCNA, if you have any firewall like CCNA and the firewall knowledge, if you have the CCNA Cisco Certified Network Associate plus the firewall knowledge, then it will boost your like the job portal. It will boost your job scope. So the better is do the CCNA and the firewall. If you have the time, always you can consider this one also plus AWS, any cloud technologies like AWS or GCP or Azure, anything you can involve here, so that you will have a good opportunity in the job platform. So for the networking jobs, okay, for the networking jobs, we don't require any special like the special degrees and all. So we just have a like decent degree. If you need to be passed your degree certification, then or else if you have a like the BTech, CSE or the ECE or even the mechanical, like we have the few of the students, they come from the mechanical background, even they also got the job and they are working as a network engineer now. So the overview of your question is you should have a basic understanding of CCNA, then the firewall, then any cloud technology. Then you will get the good job in the market, and you will be placed as a good network engineer, as a L1 network engineer. Work for 1 or 2 years, okay, 1 year. Work as a network engineer, L1 network engineer 1 year. Then you will get the opportunity to work in the multi like MNC companies. Okay. Question interview asked for the network engineers. Okay, what is the difference between TCP and UDP? Okay, cool. So the difference between TCP and UDP, let me explain here. TCP. What is TCP? TCP stands for TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. Okay, so the TCP, it is a reliable communication. TCP will establish the reliable communication. Reliable communication. So what exactly will happen in reliable communication? So reliable communication means here in TCP, whenever you initiate the connection based on the TCP, you will have a three-way handshake. You will have a three-way handshake. So in three-way handshake, mostly you will see like first SYN packet, then SYN plus acknowledgement packet, then acknowledgement packet, ACK packet, which means, so if you initiate any website, like you can see here over the internet, we have a multiple internet, like multiple websites, right? Over the internet, we have the multiple websites. So like you can consider YouTube, or you can consider Facebook, or you can consider Google. We have a multiple, like the website host over the internet. So when your PC is trying to initiate the connection, like when your PC is trying to initiate the connection for the particular web server, what will happen? Your PC used to send the SYN packet. If the connection is based on the HTTPS, hypertext transfer protocol, it works on the port number 443. So the connection is going to be encrypted. So before initiating the connection, your PC try to initiate the three-way handshake. Once the three-way handshake was initiated, then your actual payload or your actual data, okay, actual payload or actual data used to be transferred from your machine to that particular website. So whatever the data is going over the internet, it is going to be encrypted, because here we have a S stands for secure, hypertext transfer protocol, secure. And UDP. And one more thing, for every packet in TCP, if your machine is initiated, the TCP connection towards any websites or the internet, what will happen, right? For every packet, okay. So if you request something and then you will get that output, then acknowledgement packet will be initiated from the server end, because for every packet we'll have an acknowledgement packet. That is what the main thing in the TCP. If you miss any packet due to some your internet connection was break, due to some latency, so again you will get the same packet, again you will get the same segment or the same packet from your website. So the three-way acknowledgement will be happen. It's a trustworthiness, and the acknowledgement will be happen or from your machine to that particular website. Whereas UDP stands for user datagram protocol, and it works on the port number 17. Okay, so the UDP is unreliable communication, and when compared to TCP and UDP, TCP is a bit slower communication, and UDP is the user datagram protocol. It is a fast, it will have a fast conversation between source to destination, but we don't have a much security on the UDP protocol. That's what the main difference between TCP and UDP. Okay, what is the difference between TCP and UDP? What is the biggest challenge in the managing network? So, nice. So the biggest challenges are to manage in the network. There is no challenges, guys. Actually, if you have a caliber, like if you have a good skill set in the networking, then there is a no challenge in the networking. So what I suggest, right? What everyone suggests in the production, like in the industry network. If you are working as an industrial network engineer, so the engineer should have a knowledge of like CCNA, Cisco Certified Network Associate, that to R&S, routing and switching, then CCNP, R&S, routing and switching. Along with this, if you have any firewall knowledge, see, we have multi-vendor firewall. Like we have a multi-vendor firewall. All the firewalls are going to work with the same pattern. Okay, there is no much difference in the like the configuration wise. Only you will see the GUI tabs, the GUI, graphical user interface. The tabs are like bit different compared to other OEMs. If you consider, we have a Palo Alto firewall, right? We have a Firepower, and we have a FortiGate firewall. Those are the next generation firewalls. Even we have like, even we have the ASA, adaptive security appliance. See, guys, to become a good network engineer, you should have at least CCNA and CCNP plus firewall knowledge. Then you are able to capable to handle the L1 and L2 tickets. L1 and L2 tickets. So you just have a CCNA knowledge, that to a routing switching. Then if you get the like advanced level of ticket, then you are not able to resolve that ticket. So the better is if you have the CCNA and CCNP knowledge along with the firewall. Even it is better to get the wireless knowledge as well. See, we have a wireless also. In like nowadays, everyone is going through the cloud one, right? So everyone is going through the cloud one. In the wireless, what we have, right? Earlier we have a WLC, wireless LAN control. So all the access points used to integrate with the WLC. Now what we have, right, the same kind of WLC. This one is changed. The WLC, we don't have an on-prem WLC nowadays. All the like the centralized location. You can go with the Cisco Cloud, Cisco Meraki. What we have in Cisco Meraki, before we get the access points on site, before we get the devices on site, we can able to integrate all the devices with the help of this cloud-based Meraki dashboard. So we just want to, it's a GUI, guys. Okay, it's a GUI based. We just want to be access. We just want to be create the ID with your email ID, like company's email ID in the Meraki dashboard. So once you get the create the email ID, whatever the order, right? So once you order the devices with your OEM, like for example, we can take as a Cisco. So once you order the devices from the Cisco, you will get the order number. That order number along with the serial number, that order number and the serial number, you need to be mapped in your dashboard. So once you map, right, you are able to see your devices. You are able to see your devices in the dashboard. Like if you have a access point, then we'll have a wireless tab. If you have a firewalls, if you have a switches, so all the tabs will be created automatically. You just need to be upload the devices. Once you upload, you will have a tabs. So in Meraki also we have same thing, like how we have access point in the on-prem network. Also we have access points, right, and the switches and the firewall. Then what we have, like we have a camera as well, guys, in Meraki camera. So generally access point the series will start from MR, and the switches for the Meraki switches, the series is for MS, and the firewalls MX, and the camera MV. So these are the standards you just need to be understand. See, guys, Meraki, if you know the legacy method of wireless technologies, like if you know the wireless method of legacy technology deployment, then the Meraki is, it would be very easy for you guys. It would be very easy for you guys, because see, we don't want to be like take much we don't want to be much bother about the how way we need to be placed, what is the how we need to be set up the configuration part. So it would be very easy to understand, and we can go like we can do the configuration based on the cookbook or the documentation process as well. So creating the SSID. See, in the legacy one, what we have, right? So we have a WLC, where we have a WLC, and that this WLC is going to connect with any layer 3 switches. Then this layer 3 switch is going to connect with your layer 2 switches. So after the layer 2 switches, right, the access switch we can consider as access switch in your infrastructure. If you have a multiple access points, those access points used to be connected with the switches, and here these access points are going to form a cap wap tunnel. These access points are going to form a cap wap tunnel with your WLC, and these access points are going to join with your WLC. That's it, guys. Okay. So mostly in the industry, if you see, right, the flex, everyone is preferring for the flex like the flex deployment method, because we'll have only one centralized WLC in a location, and we can control with multiple location with the same. We can control, we can map the access points with the different locations. We can map the access point with the different locations to this WLC. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Muzamil, why do we learn IPv4 rather than IPv6 even though it is updated? Okay, good question. So why we can learn the Guys, before learning, let me take this down. Okay. Before we go to that question, like why we learn the IPv4 rather than IPv6, IPv4 rather than IPv6. IPv6. First, we will understand what is IP address. So we know that what is IP address. Every network engineer know that IP stands for Internet Protocol Address. Okay, so in IP addresses we have a two versions. We have how many versions? Two versions. One is IPv4, and the second one is IPv6. Clear, guys? So in IPv4 we have IPv4 version and IPv6 version. Again, in IPv4 we have different classes, guys. This IPv4 is going to be divided into different classes. So the classes are like class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. Clear? So class A, class B, class C, class D. These three classes, like class A to class B, class C, are going to use in a LAN and WAN purpose. So this is how you can answer even in interview also. And class D is reserved for multicasting, and class E is reserved for R&D, research and development. Research and development. So every class will have a different ranges, right? Every class different will have a different ranges. If you take the class A, the range will start from 0 to 127, and the class B range is 128 to 191, and class C range is 192 to 223, and the class 4 is 224 to 239. Class E range is 242 to 55. So guys, the IP address will start from 0 and it will end to 255. So here we have like, see, every classes again same. The IPv4 is the 32 bit of address. This is very also very important point that we need to be remember. IP address is the 32 bit of address, and IPv6 is 128 bit of address. So in the IPv4, we have the network portions and the host portions. We have the network portion and the host portion. Let me take this down, bit down, so that we can. Network portion and the host portion. See, the default, like the default is for class A, we have one network and three hosts. Class B, we have two networks and two hosts. For class C, we have three networks and one host. N stands for network and H stands for host. So in the large organization, enterprise organization, we used to have a class A network, and the medium scale of organization, we used to have a class B network, and the smaller scale organization, we used to have a class C network. So this is what the brief about the IP addressing. So we have IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 in interview also you can like explain in a manner like IP stands for Internet Protocol. IP stands for Internet Protocol. In IP addresses we have two versions: IPv4 and IPv6. IPv4 and IPv6. In IPv4 is a 32 bit of address, and IPv6 has a 128 bit of address. Again, in IPv4, like the 32 bit of address, IPv4 is divided into five classes: class A, class B, class C, class D, class E, and class A, B, C for use for LAN and WAN purpose, class D reserved for multicasting, class E reserved for research and development. And the default subnet mask is class A, one network, three hosts. It is the octet format, actually, octet format, and the default subnet mask is 255 dot for class A 0.0.0, and for class B the default subnet mask is 255 dot. Let me take other pen, guys. For class B, we have a 255.255.0.0, and class C we have 255.255.255.0. This is the default subnet mask of classes. Yes. So again, why we are not using IPv6, Muzamil? The next question. So we can use the IPv6 also. If you want to check what is your IP address, okay, whether your device is getting the IPv4 address or IPv6 address, you can check what is my IP address. There you will get what IP address you are getting. See, IPv6 also important, IPv4 also important. But nowadays, if you can see in every organization, for the LAN purpose, we have the IPv4, okay, and even we can use for the IPv6. Mostly, you can see the like the public transport, which means the ISPs, whichever the links are facing towards the ISP face, there we have the IPv6. Hope it's answered to your question. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Does AI will replace the network engineer job? Irfan. Okay. Nice. AI will. Good question. AI will replace network engineer job. Good question, Irfan. See, the AI will not replace the network engineer job first of all, but I can tell you by learning the AI, it will give like boost your like job, boost your job searching parameter. Even the option, the opportunity, actually the opportunity. See, earlier guys, we have a CCNA, right? Everyone knows that we have a CCNA and CCNP as well and CCIE. In CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, we have a different tracks, right? We have a different tracks: routing and switching, security, cyber security, virtualization, cloud, everything we have. See here, so we have a CCNA. Then the CCNP was invented. Like, so is this CCNA went out from the syllabus? No, right? So we have the CCNA also. See, guys, in the networking, mostly we'll have a hardware devices which includes hardware devices, which includes will have a routers, switches, firewalls, and access points, WLCs. Will the AI will replace this device? Like, see, for every, see, we have a rack, right? The networking rack. We can call network rack. We have a rack, guys. So we have a rack, so these devices are going to mount on this particular rack. Will the AI will mount this device, will come and will mount on the rack? So it is not possible, even the cabling, doing the cablings and all. So the, see, 100% we I can say, so the AI will not replace the network engineer job either. Yeah, AI will affect on other jobs but not in the networking jobs. But with the help of AI, we can fast forward our process, and we can like we can utilize this AI future, for an example, for the reporting purpose, right? Or the for log analysis, we have multiple tools, right? SIEM tools we have. So we can integrate this AI to the SIEM tool, and this is going to be help on your like day to day life, like day to day log collections, and you can read the logs easily. You can correlate the logs. So the AI will not replace the job 100%, but it is effect on the programming wise. And one more thing, guys, even Python. See, if you learn the programming language, it will be very helpful in the networking, because with the help of like different automation tool, we can do the automation process. See, we have the CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. Now you guys are able to heard that technology SD-WAN, right? SD-WAN. What is SD-WAN exactly? That is also a hardware device, and even we have the software devices also. So whatever the 1K series router we have in the Cisco, for an example, I'll take the Cisco. Like 1K means 1001 HX, or like Cisco 9K devices. So these devices are capable to support the SD-WAN technologies, and we are going to upgrade this device from normal router to the SD-WAN router, and this is going to act as a SD-WAN router. The C, customer edge device, C, and the PE device, provider edge devices. Okay, these are going to form the tunnels between the SD-WAN different modules. So what will happen, right? Earlier we have a routers, like normal routers, hardware routers, right? Those routers are not that much of like technical. You can consider this is the router one and the router two. Let me tell you one thing. Here I have a switch. See, now here I have a ISP one, guys. Here I have a ISP two. Consider here we have a switch. So the end machine. So we used to configure here like the HSRP, right? Earlier we used to have this router is going to act as an active and this router is going to act as a passive or the standby. So we used to have a virtual IP address, like virtual IP address here. I can consider here 1.1 and 1.2. The 1.3 is my virtual IP address, which is nothing but my virtual gateway. See, if this device is active, serving the active ISP, so all my traffic will go like this. Clear? And if this device goes down, my LAN traffic used to go from the ISP 2. So what will happen here? See, we have the router 1. For an example, this connectivity is fine, but we have the connectivity issue from our router to the provider point of view. If you have the issue here, like you can see here the delay, we have a delay or a reliability issue or reliability issue. So if you have the reliability issue or the delayness, or you are facing some slowness towards the primary ISP, so this router is not going to change his state from active to passive, and it is not going to shift the traffic to the secondary route. But so this is what the problem in the legacy one. So that's why we have the SD-WAN right here, SD-WAN. In the SD-WAN, whenever the SD-WAN router sync that towards my primary ISP, there is some delay, then all of sudden, without intimation, it is going to change from the other SD-WAN device and the traffic used to take from that path. So user will not face any delayness. So see guys, technology will be improved, and the things whenever the technology improve, it's not mean that the legacy one, the old one, will be removed from our network. See, you can consider even we have a ASA firewall, right? Adaptive security appliance. So Cisco come up with the first firewall PIX, then they come up with ASA adaptive security appliance, then they come up with the next generation firewall, which is nothing but firepower. So we have like market is completely occupied with the firepower, next generation firewall, but still guys, we have a ASA in the most of the organizations. Why can't we remove the ASA? We can shift it to like the firepower. See, technology will come like the whenever the technology was improved, right? So it is going to help you on your day-to-day activity. It is not completely going to be effect on any kind of like the jobs. Hope it's answer to your question, guys. And what is the difference between router and the switch? Okay, so what is the difference between router and switch? See guys, router is an internet networking device. I'll tell you by I'll tell you one thing. So once I draw the topology, you will understand that. Okay. So router is an internet networking device. It used to work on the layer 3, guys. It used to work on the layer 3, which means we can assign the IP addresses on any of the interface of the router. Clear? And router, whenever router used to send the packet from one logical, like one network, from this LAN network to any other, like other network, whenever when it is going to transfer the packet from one location to other location, a router is going to take the decision based on the routing table. Router is take the decision based on the routing table. So clear? So it's a L3 device. So we can assign the IP addresses and we can perform the routing protocols as well. We can perform the routing protocols as well. Switch is an intelligent device which we are going to connect on our LAN network. So in switches also we have a layer 2 switches and the layer 3 switches. So whenever we have the multiple end devices like the end users, if they want to connect through the cable, okay, then we are going to use the device as a switch, and switch is a layer 2 device and the layer 3 device we have. If you have the layer 2 device, there you can simply configure the VLANs. Okay, layer 2 VLANs. If you have the layer 3 switch, there you will use to configure the SVI, switch virtual interface. And switch used to take the decision based on the MAC address table, guys. So whichever the PC you are connecting here, right, every PC will have a MAC address, and that MAC address is, see, and PC, this is a PC1 and this is a PC2. If this PC1 wants to communicate with PC2, so you will see generally in the labs also, when you ping from PC1 to PC2, the first packet will be dropped, then the second packet, third packet, fourth packet will be as a reachable. So why it is? Because when the PC is initiating the traffic as a source IP is itself and the destination IP of the PC2, okay, so the packet will reach to switch, and switch don't know where is exactly the destination machine. So switch used to do the broadcasting. So once it do the broadcasting, that MAC address and the source MAC address and destination MAC address used to be learn or enter into the MAC, like the switch MAC address table. Then the switch used to perform the communication between the PCs. It used to maintain like up to 300 seconds, guys. Okay, 300 seconds. So this is the main difference between router and switches. Router used to work on the layer 3 and switch used to work on the router 2. Let me tell you, let me draw a topology. 1 second, guys. I'll give it okay. Okay, let me consider here I have a router 1. Okay, so here we have a switch 1 and some user pieces, guys. Here we have a router 2. The same thing, we have a LAN as well here, switch 2, and few of the users connected over here. In between router 1 and router 2 we have a link. See here, for this LAN I'm going to use 192.168.1.0/24 subnet. For this LAN we are going to use 192.168.2.0/24 subnet. So whenever we are using this subnet, we should have like the gateway, right? Somewhere we need to configure the gateway. Here I'm going to configure 1.1. Here I'm going to configure 2.1/24 again /24. Here I'll take 172.16.1.1/30. Here we'll take 172.16.1.2/30. So guys, we can assign 1.2/24 and the gateway is 1.1, 1.3/24 and the gateway is 1.1. The same wise here also we can assign 2.2/24, 2.1, 2.3/24, 2.1. See, generally, if when you try to communicate from this PC to this PC, okay. So we haven't done any routing. We don't have any routing here in between router 1 to router 2. We don't have a routing, guys. We don't have a routing. We just do the initial configuration, right? We perform the initial configuration, then we assign the interface IP addresses, the host name of the devices, and we assign the end devices IP addresses. Whenever you try to ping from user machine 1 to machine 2, it will not reach by default because we require any routing protocol. We require any routing protocol to communicate from one network to other network. See here we have a 1.0/24. Here we have a 2.0/24, right? So guys, you can consider here. So but we can say here we have a multiple routing protocols. You can consider types of routing protocols. So in routing protocols we have a static routing and we have a dynamic routing. And we have a default routing, right? So as it is our basic like the first demo, right? So we are like the first go live session, we will consider static routing. So there are three different routing protocols: static, dynamic, and the default routing. See guys, whenever you try to ping, right, so you can able to reach from here to your gateway till here 1.1. So this is what your gateway, right? So this machine will also reach till here 2.1. But when this PC 2.2 is trying to reach to 1.2, it will not possible because due to we don't have a routing here. So we need to enable the routing. So when we use the static routing here, so simply we are going to configure like the static route towards the direction for 1.0 2.0/24 network. Here's the static routing. The same thing from router 2 to router 1 for this LAN network to 1.0/network. We need to configure the return route as well. Now, if you have a routes, right, you can confirm here, show IP route static. You will see the route with the like S in the routing table. So you'll see the route from to reach 2.0 network. So you will have a route here because we configured the routes. And even if you check from here, like to reach 1.0/24 network, you have a route. So that's how the routing used to be work. Routing is enable the process, okay, in router to move the packet. Router is a logical device, like it's an internetworking device which we use to communicate from one network, one logical network to another network with the help of routing protocol. So we need to perform any of the routing protocol to reach from 1.0 to 2.0. Hope it is answered your question, Muzammil. Okay, what will happen if you configure multiple routing protocols on a router? Good question. So if you configure multiple routing protocols in your like any of the like in the same router, if you configure the multiple routing protocols, so based on the AD value, every routing protocol, the routes are going to install in the routing table based on the AD value. Whichever the routing protocol will have a less AD value, that routes are going to install in your router routing table. That's it. The answer is simple. In interview, even in interview also you can say like this. Okay, so whenever we configure the multiple routing protocols on the router, okay, so whichever the routing protocols AD values is less, okay, that routing protocol that routing protocol routes are going to install in the routing table. Clear, guys? Okay, can you explain about the CIDR? CIDR, Cisco Interdomain Routing Protocol. Cisco Interdomain, sorry, CIDR, right? Classless Interdomain Routing. Guys, CIDR stands for Classless Interdomain Routing. So we have default subnets at /8, /16, /24. This is for class A, this is for class B and class C. So if you want to do the, like, see, in the subnetting we have the concept. In subnetting we have the concept FLSM and VLSM. Fixed length subnet mask, variable length subnet mask. If you use the fixed length subnet mask, you will have a /8, /16 and /24. So if you use the various variable length subnet mask, so based on your requirement you can do the subnetting. So that is called as a CIDR, okay, classless interdomain routing. So every routing protocol used to support for CIDR, classless routing protocol, so except RIP version 1. RIP version 1. It used to support only classful routing protocol. There's a what if router goes down? What action to be performed? See, guys, what if router goes down? What action to be performed? Here, so first we need to check the power supply, PSU1, PSU2. Every router will come with the redundant power supply, guys. So every device router, even in the switches also you can consider, will have a redundant power supplies. So PSU1, power supply unit 1 and the power supply unit 2. If one power supply goes down, so you will get the alert that your power supply unit is not working. So then you need to replace that. You need to perform the RMA with your OEM. So OEM used to give that power supply, then again insert jack in that power supply, so your device will be work perfectly. See, if the device goes down, so you need to collect the like what we can say, you need to identify for what reason device goes down. Either it could be power, right? It could be power. The first and foremost reason is power, right? If the power is fine, then you need to identify either any CPU utilization is high or the memory utilization is high, and my router is not able to perform any of the routing or the any of the functionalities. So you need to check. So take the console whenever the device got down, right? So you're not able to log in. See, if you get the alert that your management IP address, every device will have a management IP address. If your device is not able to respond to the ping, then take the console access. So we have the console access, right? Take the console access and check whether it is this device is able to log in or not. If it is able to log in, then we can easily get the issue what exactly happened on the device. Sometime what will happen, guys, so we used to upgrade the device like iOS, inter operating system, right? Cisco devices used to work on the iOS. When you try to upgrade the device, we have the different mechanisms to upgrade the device. Either you can go with the USB, or you can go with the FTP or TFTP server. So based on these two mechanism, you can upgrade your device. The first thing is, first you need to download what is your targeted iOS version. So once you download your targeted iOS version, so if you use the USB, so that iOS version need to be copied on the USB. Then USB used to be connect with your router. Copy the iOS first in the router's flash, then set the boot sequence, and then try to upgrade, right? Reload the device. Once you set the boot sequence, you have to save the configuration. If you don't save the configuration in the production networks, what will happen, right? If you don't save the configuration, router used to go into the Raman mode. So once if the router goes into the Raman mode, then again the only option you have, you need to take the console with the help of console cable, then try to take back that router from Raman mode to the normal mode. This is what the procedure. Okay, what will happen if the switch receive the same MAC address from the different ports? Okay, so what will happen if the switch receive the main same MAC address? See, first we need to understand where we'll have a MAC address, right? Let me take the pen. Yeah. See, I have one port here, one port here. So every PC will have a NIC card. NIC stands for Network Interface Card. Every interface card will have a MAC address, like 48-bit of MAC address. Consider this is my A is the MAC address, and for this PC's MAC address is BBB. Clear? So switch used to maintain the MAC address table. MAC address table. So this MAC address, whatever the VLAN, see if you allow here the VLAN 10, here VLAN 20, just for an example for better understanding. So you will see this MAC address under the VLAN 20's MAC address table, this MAC address under the VLAN 20's MAC address table. See, generally the PC will not, the switch will not learn the same MAC address from the different machines, the same MAC address. If it is learned right, it is the concept is like DHCP snooping. When sometime what we can tell, what we can say for that, right? There is a concept BPDU guard, right? BPDU guard. We used to configure the end devices ports as a BPDU guard, and that ports are whenever the multiple like the MAC spoofing is happening, then that port is going to be in a error disable mode. By configuring the BPDU guard and the port fast, this by like the DHCP snooping, this multiple IP snooping, this kind of like layer 2 security, right? Layer 2 security technology, with the help of layer 2 security protocols, okay, we are going to achieve that. So whichever the PC is acting as a like the multiple MAC address, trying to spoof the MAC address, so that is going to be an error disable mode. Okay. And difference between distance vector and the link state routing protocol. Sai Kumar. Let me. No, let me wipe this so that we can. Yes, Sai Kumar, I'll take your question. Okay, the difference between the distance vector protocol and the link state routing protocol. Okay, let me wipe this. Else. Sorry. See, to understand before what is the distance vector routing protocol and the link state routing protocol. See, we discussed, right? We have a static routing protocol, we have a static route and the dynamic routing protocol and the default routing protocol. In dynamic routing protocol again divided into two parts. One is IGP, interior gateway protocol, and the second one is EGP, exterior gateway protocol. In IGP, interior gateway routing protocol, we have like RIP, and we have EIGRP, we have OSPF, and we have IS. Clear, guys? In EGP, exterior gateway routing protocol, we have only one protocol, that is BGP. RIP, it works on the distance vector routing protocol. EIGRP used to work on the advanced distance vector routing protocol, and the OSPF used to work on the link state routing protocol. Even this ISIS will also work as a link state routing protocol. BGP work on path vector routing protocol. Path vector routing protocol. See, every routing protocol will have a AD value. Okay, so RIP will have a AD value, EIGRP, OSPF, and ISIS. Even the port numbers also. Every routing protocol will have a AD values and the port numbers. See, the main distance between what is the main difference between the distance vector routing protocol and the link state routing protocol. Distance vector routing protocol, if you have the routers, see, if you consider RIP used to send the packet till like from it used to work based on the hop count, right? Hop count. So hop count means what? What is the default hop count in the RIP? 0 to 15, which means the 16 routers. 16 routers. So if you have like this router 1, router 2, and so on till router 15. So RIP used to send the routing updates till 15 only. After the 15, the packets are going to be dropped because the default behavior of the RIP is a hop count. It used to send the updates, routing updates. It used to send the routing updates till router 0 to router 15, 0 to 15, which means 16 routers. After that, it will not work. Distance vector, which used to work on the distance, it is calculating the distance. It is like every dynamic routing protocol used to calculate the best route, right? Once you configure the routing protocol, it used to consider the best route. For an example, so here we have a LAN to reach from this LAN to this LAN. We have two ways. Either we can go like this, either we can come like this, right? So this is the nearest one. So the distance, what is the distance from router 1 to router 4, that is going to consider based on your the protocol distance. Sorry guys. So that is going to be calculated based on the distance. Even the link state will also, OSPF used to work based on the link state, which means it is going to consider the cost. What is the formula to consider the cost? 10 to the power of 8 divided by bandwidth. So this is going to calculate that formula and what distance, if I reach via like this, via R2, R14 and R15 to this destination, what is the cost I'm getting? And if I want to reach from R1 to directly R4, what is the cost I'm getting? Whichever the less cost, that routes are going to be installed in the routing table. And one more thing, every routing protocol used to maintain some tables, right? So if you consider this one, if you consider the EIGRP will have a neighbor table and topology table. The third one is a routing table. If you consider OSPF routing protocol, so we'll have the first one is neighbor table. The second one is database table, and the third one is routing table. Routing table. So in the neighbor table, what is the meaning of neighbor table? Neighbor table will contain the directly connected neighbor information. If your router is connecting to the multiple routers which is directly connected, so for router 1 will become the neighbor of, so router 2 is the neighbor of router 1 and router 3 will also, router 4 will also. So this router 1 is having the neighborship with this particular router. So the directly connected neighbor information will present in the routing table, neighbor table. And the topology table. So topology table will contain the whole topology information. If you have 100 routers in your network, so the router 1 will have the 99 routers information. Router 1 will have a 99 routers information in the router 1's topology table. It will view like as a top view, and the routing table will contain the information of the best path, whichever the best path. So based on the routing table, what algorithm EIGRP used to use to calculate the advanced distance, like dual algorithm we have, right? dual algorithm we have. So based on that algorithm, it is going to be like calculated what is the distance to the particular destination to reach. If you have the multiple ways to reach from router 1 to that particular location, so that both the routers, like the successor and the feasible successor, are going to be installed in your topology table. So from successor and the first, like the primary route and the secondary route, successor and feasible successor, the whatever the successor you have, that route is going to be installed in your routing table. The same thing will happen in every routing protocol here, even in OSPF as well. So neighbor table will contain the directly connected neighbor informations, and the database table will have a the primary route and the secondary route. Whatever the primary route will have, that route is going to be installed in your routing table. So that's what I discussed when the router is an internet networking device, and it used to take the decision based on the routing table to forward the packet from one location to other locations. Hi Aman. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Yes, guys. Any other questions? Hope we answer every question. Yes, guys. Let me check what was the comment. Should I miss anyone? Let me check. I don't think so. Should I miss anyone? Okay. So, okay. Anyone's question? CIDR we already answered. And okay, protocols. Clear. What is the difference between clear and this one? Okay, cool. The whole teacher is very good. Okay. And teaching well and teaching level awesome. Thank you, Sadik. Thank you so much. Does AI will replace no Irfan? AI will not replace the any network engineer, especially networking security jobs. Cool. Thank you. What is the difference between TCP and VDP? We already take up this question. Okay, BCom. Okay, yeah, BCom is also applicable for network engineers. If you have, let me stop sharing. Yes, yes, all rounder. The BCom qualification will also consider for the network engineering post. That's not an issue. Okay, big fan of you. Thank you so much, Lukman. Okay, good evening, good evening. So cool. So the different types of ARP, we have different like multiple ARPs. You can consider like ARP address resolution protocol and ARIA-RP reverse address resolution protocol, GARP gracious ARP, and we have proxy ARP as well. See guys, the ARP and ARIA-RP will happen in the switches, and like inverse ARP also we have. So this will happen in the like normal routers and switches, but wherever you see the HA high availability configuration, there we used to have a GARP gracious ARP. Based on that gracious ARP, your virtual IP address and your virtual MAC address used to be moved from the active device. When the active device goes down, that VIP and the VMAC address used to be shifted from your active unit to the standby unit. Clear? The proxy ARP also we have. Clear? Why will you use ARP? Okay. So ARP is for the resolution purpose, Lukman. Address resolution protocol. See, generally what will happen, right? I'll tell you the this one, like the live scenario. So in your organization, you are working as a network engineer or the security engineer. Like consider network engineer. One user, like user is raised a ticket that he's not able to browse the internet, or he's not able to get connected with the internet. So he's connected through the LAN interface. Okay, so what you will ask, right, to give the basic MTS, which means what is your IP address, what IP address you are getting, subnet mask, default gateway, and your MAC address. So the thing is what we'll have, right? So once he shared the MDS, basic MDS, like IP config forward slash all. So based on the MAC address, you will be identify that you will go on the switch. Okay, so you need to identify on which port he is connected exactly and what configuration you have configured on that particular port. So to identify the port number, so we require a MAC address, even sometime based on the IP address also. If you perform the command show IPR pipe include and the IP address, you will get the MAC address. So based on that MAC address also, you can identify that show MAC address F1 table address, and you can paste that address. Okay, so you will identify that on which port he is connected, then you can perform the show run command. So based on that, okay, so based on that you will have a based on that you will have like so where he is connected and which exactly is the right VLAN is allowed on his connected port number, or any wrong VLAN we have, like, so that we can get multiple options. We have multiple but the GRP is especially whenever you have a HA kind of connectivity, there you will see that the GRP, right? Any other questions, guys? Yeah. Uh, So what is the question? I think I missed. What is BPDU guard and what is the difference? Yeah, so BPDU guard and the BPDU filters. See guys, so where we'll have a BPDU. So if you have a like redundant switches in your network infrastructure, what will happen? So the STP, spanning tree protocol, used to have, right? We have the STP protocol, spanning tree protocol, to avoid the layer 2 loops. So there you can see that in between from your root switch to non-root switches, okay, every 2 seconds the BPDU packet used to be exchanged in between roots and non-root switches, right? Roots and non-root switches. So what exactly the BPDU guard and the BPDU filter? So BPDU guard is nothing but so BPDU guard is nothing but where you have the end device, like the end port, end user connected machine. There you used to configure the BPDU guard and the BPDU filter. What will happen, right? So that BPDU guard, if the switch is seeing any unwanted traffic, any unwanted BPDUs are initiated from that particular respective port, there what will happen, that port, the switch is immediately it is going to be block that port in error disable mode, so in the BPD filter also will also have a same kind of setup feature. So what is the difference between NAT and PAT? Please explain, Sir Salman. Okay, uh, so the BPDU oh, what is the question? Let me check here. Difference between fragment and segment. Okay, before that we have a difference between NAT and PAT. Okay, so guys, in NAT, NAT stands for network address translation. So NAT we have static NAT, dynamic NAT, and PAT. See, NAT and PAT. So network address translation. If you configure the static NAT, when we require a static NAT, exactly. Even in interview, we'll ask the question like, so when you are going to perform the static NAT. Static NAT is nothing but so the traffic. If you hosting a website in your DMZ zone, so some of the user from the over the internet, they are trying to access your website. So that website is hosted on the website. So the traffic direction is in. So you have to be remember this point. Static NAT is always used to configure for inbound direction. Okay, this is what the static NAT one-to-one mapping. and the port address translation. See, if you already taken the connection, internet connection from your ISP provider, so where you need to be access from your LAN users, from your LAN machines, all your LAN subnet used to be go over the internet. So you don't want to purchase the extra public IP address. So with the help of port address translation, where you can use that public IP address to translate your private IP to like the public IP, so that you will have a internet one to many port address translation. Whenever your request is initiated from your LAN machine to, so your gateway used to be performed translate that IP address like over that your source and destination IP address. It is going to be added one more layer header. Okay. Thank you for your session, sir. Thank you so much, Teja. Cool. Guys, is my video is bit lag or slowness? I'm seeing here in my demo PCs, I'm getting slow. What was, guys? Please, someone can let me know. I'm getting some lag here. So I have another PC here. Like when I'm seeing here the same. Why? No, right? Something. Nice. So let me take the questions. Re- Okay. What is a loop root guard? Root guard. See, guys. So everything BPDU guard and BPDU filter and BPDU and the root guard. These terms will fall under STP only. See, in STP, what will happen, right? So one switch is going to elect as a root switch and the other switches is going to elect as a non-root switches based on your bridge ID or the switch ID. Switch ID like the root ID, bridge ID like switch ID plus your MAC address, right? Based on that the election will happen and one of the switch is going to elect as a root switch and the other switch is going to elect as a non-root switcher. So other switches, so the root guard are going to be configured. The root guard is going to be configured the between from root switches to non-root switches. Whether so the VLAN data and the other ports and the other VLANs need not to be propagate them as a root guard. Okay, stuck. What is stuck in active in EIGRP? What is stuck in active in EIGRP? See, the stuck in active in EIGRP is nothing but if you have a router one, router two, router three is connected with like point to point way. So if the router 2 link towards your router 3 or other router, if the router is not able to reach from, if the router is don't have the success like the feasible successor to reach that particular destination or the destination network, at that time router 2 used to be initiate the query message. So the other routers, if you don't receive the reply message for that query, so router 2 used to be stuck in active, so it is not going to perform any packets. That's what the difference between router stuck in active. This feature was there earlier, so the router used to stuck in 3 minutes before 17.12 version. After that 17.12 version, if the router is don't have the routes, so it will query the query message. Okay, then if you don't receive the any reply from that, so that route is going to be removed from router's routing table. Thanks, Samir. Thanks for your confirmation. So thanks, guys. Hopefully you enjoy the session and we too. So, oh, Sai Kumar. Thanks, Sai Kumar. Okay. So do let me know on the comment section on which topic you need a like the live session, one to one session. So we'll have a in detail. So we'll prepare a PPT as well, so that it's my first live session. We just like for the demo purpose we just landed here. So do let me know if you guys are looking for any other topic, specific topic. Just let me know on the comments section, so that we will initiate on the next demo based on the your comment section. Thank you so much for joining Network Ninja demo session. Yes, guys. If you have any other doubt, like the next topic, whatever you want to learn, just let us know. We will come up with that topic. Thanks, Samir Sheikh, Sai Kumar, Samir, Shahir. Thanks, everyone. Everyone. Yes, guys. Thanks for joining, everyone. Do subscribe our channel and hit bell icon and comment so that it will give the good impression or good motivation for us also to have a good sessions. Thank you so much for joining and